everyone. Today we're going to talk about transport and just give a general overview of what Baseplan mobility application has in regards to the transport module and how that can improve your business workflows. So first things first, we'll run through the general workflow. We'll basically just give a rundown of what kind of process exists. Then we'll talk about the different docket types that we currently support. So obviously the rental related ones, so getting equipment to and from customers from yourself to the customer, and recording those statuses, and obviously triggering business related logic within the Baseplan desktop application. We'll also talk about transfers, much the same really, just mainly recording whereabouts equipment is, and if it's in transit to a different branch for whatever reason, and how BMA can help make that process a lot smoother. Last thing is basically running you through the process in BMA itself, and talking through doing things like taking photos, and all the other different bits of functionality. It is rather simple because it doesn't really need to be super complicated. The simpler the better. Make things more efficient, focus on safe driving rather than all the different complicated processes that might exist in a mobile app. Sweet, so first up is the workflow. So we'll start off with basically looking at this diagram. So this is obviously encompassing everything. Well, not everything, but most things you can do within BMA. So within the rental workflow, you can see the green on the side here. So we have basically the contract will get created, the equipment will get brought together, and then it'll get put on a delivery docket or a customer pickup, depending on the workflow. Generally, it'll go on a delivery docket, and then from there, basically it would be handed to the driver. The driver would load the truck. They would then travel. They would get to where they need to drop it off, the customer site. They would unload it, and then obviously it would be with the customer to use in that regard. So basically the workflow here is obviously the loading of the equipment is important. When they arrive, they can obviously take photos, which we'll see shortly, to record any detail. Potentially if there's no one there, they can obviously go and look at that. And then from there, once they have marked it as unloaded, it will automatically basically trigger the contract to start. So from there, you can basically imagine as soon as the equipment arrives, the contract changes to current from a desktop application perspective, and the billing can obviously kind of commence from there. So it pretty much makes sure that all entry points are recorded at the actual time that they happen. Right now, there could be a lot of paper processes happening, and things might not even get processed till the next day. So just having it all happen nice and easily, and then obviously your rental controllers can have a good view of what's happening in real time, rather than waiting for paperwork to catch up on all that kind of stuff. So that's really what what BMA generally exceeds in. And then on the way back, so obviously someone can terminate the contract or specific equipment on the contract. It will create a pickup docket. The pickup docket can be allocated to a driver, and the driver can go and pick it up. They'll load their truck, recording all that kind of which equipment's going on and off. So that can include excluding certain equipment, which can then obviously trigger certain things to happen. So it might trigger the equipment to stay on hire, or it might trigger a second pickup docket to be created. It really depends on configuration, but overall allow someone to mark what is going on in their truck, and they can then come and unload it. And then once they unload it, it would then obviously go and trigger from a BMA perspective. If you don't have BMA for these two modules, that's fine, but generally if BMA is turned on, it would trigger a return object or activity to appear on BMA for the rental controllers or the yard people, and then also an inspection for any inspectors that need to, if you've got service on return ticked, then basically an inspection can be created as soon as that pickup comes back. So basically all really quick updates straight into the system, so everyone's aware of what's going on, and giving a good overview of what's happening, and kind of removing the need for paper, so that you can minimize loss of paper, meaning loss of knowledge of what's happening, which I'd imagine is So next up is docket types. So docket types, very simple stuff. We support at the moment both kinds of hire delivery types or docket types. So you can see here delivery and return. So in BMA terminology, it's pickup. So both, as we talked about in the workflows, basically from dropping the equipment off to the site and then picking it up. We cover both of that in BMA, and then also further to that, we cover fleet transfers. So anytime someone's transferring from one branch to another, if there's a relevant docket, it will basically record that here, and all that will appear in BMA so that someone can basically update the statuses. From a BMA perspective, the driver is basically which user in BMA is doing the work, and then the external docket status is the status that's being updated in BMA. So we can see all that detail there. And to add that, we will shortly be supporting transport jobs, and following that will be sales jobs, and then service jobs will do last. But we will be supporting all kinds of dockets in the near future. So what we're going to do now is basically run through the process. So we'll actually start off in Baseplan Enterprise, the desktop application. We'll just have a look at the transport allocation screen. So you can see here, this is basically, this is what a transport coordinator or manager would basically look after. So you can see here a range of different transport types here, and basically from this screen we can go ahead and assign a docket. So we'll pick my user here, drag that to here, basically going to pop up and ask me. In this case, I'm creating a delivery docket, but in most cases it would already be done. So awesome. Generate a report. We'll close that. And then we can see down here that the driver, JW, has been assigned to this delivery. So if we were to go ahead and go back to BMA and wrong button, refresh. Here you go, it's at the bottom here. It was an old docket, so it's actually hiding at the bottom of the my overdue list. So you can see here it's 14 days ago. So generally pretty simple. So you would just, you can see all the relevant details here, customer names, to and from address, all that kind of stuff. You can tap any of these icons to basically open up the maps, and then it'll take you from A to B. You can update the statuses, which is the most important part. So in transit, at the branch, load, and then we can you can see a bunch of details here, which I'll outline in a different video. But overall, you want to tick the box. Cool, so it's loaded. We can see here loaded. We can then transition that to in transit, at the site, unload. Once we're unloaded, or unloading, I should say, obviously there's a bunch of different things on here which I'll outline in a separate video, but ultimately what you want to do is tick the equipment that's being unloaded. So if there's multiple, you'll see them. And then you want to get a signature of the customer that's receiving the goods. So it's actually not the worst signature I've ever done on an app, but yeah, you basically do that. We have instruction given here, so this is to basically say that if there was any paperwork or any instructions, obviously, that needed to be given to someone upon receiving the equipment, e.g. safety precautions, all that kind of stuff. It's just a tick box there that can be configured to basically enforce someone to tap that, just a reminder. We can email the docket if needed, and we have SMS on the way, so that'll be coming shortly. You can also take photos, so if you wanted to, you could quite easily take a photo. Works much the same as if Amazon, Australia Post, whoever is dropping off a parcel at your house, they might take a photo. Or Uber Eats and Uber, they all do that now as well. So take a photo, and then that'll all be recorded within Baseplan Enterprise instantly. So we can go ahead and hit confirm. Awesome, so that will disappear. Cool, so now what we would want to do is basically that equipment would be used, then they would call up or um, email, however kind of communication method makes sense, and request a pickup. So ultimately, someone would come in and terminate the contract. Once it's terminated, it would then appear back on the transport allocation screen once the pickup docket's been created. So you can see here return. We can basically come in, drag and drop someone. We'll go yes. That'll basically load up. We'll double check everything's fine. Yep, it looks good. We'll close that. And basically what we want to do, what we can see at the bottom here, that's now been allocated. And we can go back to BMA. So here we go. Hit refresh. And we can see my list. The pickup docket has now appeared. And we can go ahead and basically progress through those statuses like we did in the previous one. So nice and simple stuff. In transit at the branch, unload the equipment, tick the box, hit confirm, bang, and there you go. There's the example from the workflow stage. Inspections automatically being created, so we can go ahead and do that, and there's likely a return that's appeared also. So nice and simple stuff. There you go, there's your return. And that is all for this video. Thank you.